This is Local 4 News this morning.
Good morning and thanks for watching Local 4 News this morning. I'm Emily Scarlett. It's the biggest event of the year for living lands and waters. Fast food chains are serving up kids' meals dangerously high in salt, according to new research. Police are looking for the man they say shot up a house party in Burlington. It's a new day for The Late Show. Stephen Colbert makes his big premiere as host of The Late Night Show right here on CBS. City leaders are expecting an addition of 8,000 new residents over the next 20 years. Rock Island's Housing Authority will begin accepting Section 8 applications again today, but for one day only. Now, City Council has plans to take matters into their own hands and tear it down. We'll get to our top story briefly here, but we are learning of some possible breaking news this morning. Local 4 crews are live on the scene now. A rollover accident, you're seeing that on your screen here. We believe that 2 trucks are involved in this accident. We don't have a lot of details at this time. We don't know if there are any injuries involved with this, but there don't seem to be any traffic issues. This is on Kimberly Road, right where Hickory Grove merges with the west end of Kimberly in Davenport. Again, not a lot of details at this time. The most fascinating part about this story is that I think it seems a little more normal, more comfortable for people to have this conversation. This wasn't the case back in 1995 when Rob agreed to allow these cameras into his life. And so he truly was a pioneer for fighting against HIV and AIDS here in the Quad Cities.
Yeah, the courage it must take a person, especially, or now, you know, but at that time even, to come out with that information and be a pioneer for the conversation must have taken a lot of bravery and courage. Then.
Absolutely. So we've got part 2 and part 3 coming up tomorrow and Wednesday. We hope you'll tune in for that. For now, let's check in with meteorologist Anthony Peoples on this Monday morning, coming after a cold weekend for sure.
Yeah.
This is a story that the entire nation is talking about. Before we go, we'd like to say that our hearts go out to the family, friends, and co-workers of reporter Allison Parker and cameraman Adam Ward, forced out of their homes in Scott County after a mass eviction at Lake Kenyatta Mobile Home Park. The location has a long history of trouble. The Democrats, meanwhile, will debate for the first time on October 13th. Pope Francis continues his historic trip of Cuba with visits to 2 more cities today, this ahead of his visit to the U.S. this week. Perhaps the most scandalous, a hand with the middle finger extended. And I can think of so many instances where I would use that taco emoji. So
they're going to say something
I'm excited
else.
about those new ones.
Yeah. Hey, Emily, you want to go running today? And I'm sure you would send the taco.
Taco, of course.
That'd be the first one. Well, you do seem pretty emotional over this.
Just a little bit.
You have to give them time to get used to the new environment. So
Some great tips there, Pam. Yeah. And then lastly, if you are interested in adopting Black, you can get her for a pretty good deal, right?
yes, she is one of our 15 fabulous.
They'll enjoy the lower energy bills for sure.
Right, I hope so.
All right, well, coming up, she's dancing as a testimony of hope. That's coming up right after the break. Sometimes folks are a little bit worried. How long has this food been sitting there? Now there's an app for that.
And I had a little slogan too. Are you gonna sing it for us? I sang it in the 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. Chris came up with a little rap and a little dance to avoid that problem as well. Just reach from the back, right?
Yep, reach to the back. Reach to the back.
To the back. All right.
It comes with practice. You'll get it.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
I'll work on that during the break. Let's check on meteorologist Anthony Peoples on this Friday Eve. Anthony, have you got the song and dance down yet? Heavyweight champion Seth Rollins. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Nearly 20 years ago, Rob Dislear, a pioneer in the fight against HIV and AIDS, lost his own battle with the infectious disease. But almost 2 decades later, his story lives on. A mini-series called Rob's Life captured what became his most challenging and final year living with AIDS. I sat down with members of Rob's family, and they say even 20 years later, there's still an important message to be learned.
He was the life of the party.
Well, he was mischievous and loved to have a good time.
He could get away with anything and come out smelling like a rose.
Rob and his friends all sneaked out at night and went around East Moline and gathered up for sale signs. And they took them all and put them in front of the high school. Prom, he was dressed to the nines, and so was his date. And, you know, we had no clue, and I don't think Rob knew for sure. He might have been battling with it.
We had suspicions that Rob might be gay, but it didn't really matter to us. There was a lot of non-acceptance of gay, and there was a lot of fear of AIDS.
They said, well, we want you to follow someone here in the Quad Cities who has AIDS. And I said, well, who? Who do you have in mind? And Rob said, me. And my blood ran cold because I was looking at someone who looked so young and healthy, and yet he was telling me he was going to die on camera.
He was involved along all those 10 years, gay pride marches. In fact, I attended one, and I was a little embarrassed at the time because I'd never seen that before. And I got him aside and I said something. He said, Dad, this is the only way we're going to get awareness. So I kept my mouth shut from that on. And he was right.
I think there's still a lot of misunderstanding about HIV, about AIDS, about gay people. I think Rob can still help educate.
Just feeling so sad for him, and realizing, I remember sitting on the couch realizing that Rob had helped 2 people die of this, and now he had it too.
It hurts. You're not supposed to bury your own kid.
In part 2 of Rob's life, the 20th anniversary, we'll hear from Dr. Lewis Katz. He treated Rob back in the mid-'80s and is now one of the leading physicians for infectious diseases. Dr. Katz tells us just how close Rob came to benefiting from a major breakthrough in treatment for HIV and AIDS. That's in part 2 of Rob's life, the 20th anniversary. Sure, enjoying the John Deere Classic is a treat in itself. But you have to admit, some fans have a more comfortable experience than others.
We like to say it's the best seat in the house.
Spectators can take in the game up close and personal in one of the many hospitality packages being offered, from the 17th hole trophy suites to the 18th hole skybox viewing. Enjoy the tournament in style. The VIP tents provide a way for folks to get in out of the heat and enjoy a cool drink.
Pretty much an all-inclusive day for when they come out. They're going to enjoy great golf, hopefully great weather, and obviously some great food and drinks as well.
And while some VIP tents are invitation only,
we have a lot of options for everybody who wants to come to the tournament.
The Greenside Club offers 18th hole viewing and air-conditioned seating, plus it's available to any JDC guest interested in paying the upcharge, of course. Giving you an upscale look behind the scenes of the JDC. For Local 4 News, I'm Emily Scarlett.